So welcome to today's class. I wanted to look at Excel functions and formulas. Cell referencing. Why you talk about cell referencing? The multiplication table. The multiplication table. Why you talk about that? Okay. So our discussion today will be revolving around that. Now, it's a very simple thing, but through that, we'll be able to learn so many things. I want us to come up with a multiplication table. And that is having 1 all the way to 9. Both vertically and horizontally. So of course, majority of us here are used to typing 1. You go to 2. It'll tell you, instead of doing it manually, somebody will just come and do this. That's saying that, if you take this direction, you've actually automated the procedure, right? Another person will come and tell you, I'll simply come and type 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And basically, they have been able to do the same thing. They have been able to do the same thing. Now, from what you know, I want to introduce another method. What if you are told to type this all the way to 10,000? Right? What if you are told to type these numbers either vertically or horizontally all the way to 10,000? How will you be able to deal with this? How will you be able to deal with this? So that's what I want us to address today. That's what I want us to address first. No volume. Somebody saying that there's no volume. Are you getting me from your side? Please confirm whether you're able to get me from your side. Then it seems it is a personal problem, not affecting everyone. A lot of echo. Your voice not stable. You are breaking. Okay. Let's see what we can do about it. Let's see what we can do about it. How about now? How about now? Is it okay? Good. Now, I've said you can be told to type these numbers all the way to 10,000. So typing like 1 and 2, right? Somebody will tell us, what, just type 1 and 2. What are you supposed to do? Just highlight. Then drag it all the way to what you want to come up with. Imagine you're going to do this all the way to 10,000. Again, it will take you a lot of time. Right? Good. So another way now, an automated method, simply type the first number. Even if you want to start from 0, that's okay. You can type the first number. So let's say our first number is 1. We want to maintain an interval of 1 and move all the way to 10,000. Once you do this, you'll simply go to this particular section. There's this part here indicated fill. You click on that drop-down list, it gives you the option of series fill. So click on the series fill, and this will be displayed. Now, how do you want to fill your numbers? Is it column-wise or row-wise? I hope I'm addressing someone who knows the difference between column and row. When you look at the letters, they are used to represent or to refer to the columns. When you look at the numbers, they are referring to the rows. When I talk about putting our numbers into rows or into columns, we now know how to deal with it. If I want all my numbers to be in this column where we have P, then it means we are going to the column series, right? If you want the numbers to share one row, that is, you want to list everything in row number 8 horizontally, we'll be picking on the row option. So this time around, we want to do it in the column. And of course, the column that I'm having here is column P. Maybe someone else in this meeting is using column N, which is not a problem, right? So once you do that, you want to put our numbers into the column section, and this part must be filled. You have to fill these two sections. You have to fill these two sections. You have to fill these two sections. You have to fill the two sections. So number 1, the step value. What is the interval between these numbers that I want to fill in this column P, right? What is the interval? So we have said we want to maintain an interval of 1. So from 1, we will be moving to 2. From 2, we'll be moving to 3. So that's what we refer to as the step value. The stop value, what is the last digit you want to come up with? Do you want to stop at 500,000? Do you want to stop at 70,000? Do you want to stop at 10? At 10,000, right? So I'll be able to type 10,000. Yeah. And then you confirm, right? And then you confirm. There's a question. Let's go slowly. We've not even started. We have not even started. So are we ready? I can repeat the process. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? Thank you. We have said to go to this part here, right? It is under OM. You go to OM, then this part here, there's this drop down. You go to series. We want to fill these numbers in the column section. We want them to have an interval of 1, and our stopping point is 10,000. Our stopping point is 10,000. When you confirm, you can clearly see it has been able to autofill the numbers within that particular column. And we look at the last digit again. We look at the last digit. So if you look at the last digit, somebody will also be telling us to do this. There's this ninja who will be scrolling. This ninja will be scrolling all the way to that 10,000. I can see this ninja taking almost 30 minutes to scroll all the way to the last digit. Another ninja will say, okay, that is too manual. So this ninja will again tell us, just go to this last part here of your screen, then you left click. There's another ninja who will be coming to this side and telling us, you know what, can you please scroll? This ninja will be trying to scroll, right, all the way to that 10,000. Now, the third ninja who understands how Excel operates will come and place the cursor there, then say control, then click on page down. When you click on control, page down, it takes you to the last digit in that particular column. If you click on control, page down, so there's that arrow pointing towards you, right? There's that arrow pointing towards your left-hand side, your right-hand side. We are referring to the arrow pointing towards you. When you hold on control and you click on that arrow pointing towards you, it takes you to the last part of that data. When you hold on control and click on the arrow pointing away from you, then automatically it takes you to the first part of that particular data. But the major thing here is we have been able to know how to autofill these numbers. We've been able to know how to autofill these numbers. How do you confirm? Yes, we've been able to actually do it that way. So you can see we are having all these digits. Good. Now, what if I want an interval of 5? I want an interval of 5. I want an interval of 5. What will I do? Now, the starting point. I want an interval of 5, but I want to start from 1. That's okay. Let me do away with this. Simply come here, type 1. That's okay. You go to fill or series, then go to the series here. I want us to do it column-wise. The step value is now the interval between these numbers, which is 5. Where do you want to stop? We want to stop at 10,000. We want to stop at 10,000, but this time round, we want an interval of 5 between the digits. So once you confirm, automatically you can see we have 1. From 1 plus 5, we have 6. 6 plus 5, we have 11. That interval is maintained all the way to 10,000. And you can see, because after this, the next digit will be 10,000 and 10,001. But because we said we are stopping at 10,000, it must just stop at exactly 10,000 or slightly below 10,000, given that the next digit should not exceed the 10,000 mark. Good, that's what I've done. I've said you type 1 here. Let's do even 4. You want an interval of 2. So type 4, go to home, then this one here, series, column, the step value, the interval here, you want maybe interval of 3, and you want to stop at 5,000, right? Column-wise, then you confirm. So in doing so, we have 4 with the interval of 3, right? And we are stopping at 5,000. So the next digit after this will be 5,004. But because we have said we are stopping at 5,000, that's why it is giving us this as the last. How do I move to the topmost part of my data? Hold on Control, page up, arrow. Good. That's another way of actually saving on time as you autofill these numbers, especially if you're dealing with a large piece of data. Then, of course, that's what we're supposed to do. Good. Can we now proceed? So let's try using that to just have 1 to 9, both horizontally and vertically. 1 to 9 with an interval of 1. So you will type 1 here, right? You'll type 1 here. Then you go to this fill, series. This time around, you want to do it horizontally. You maintain the rows, right? The step value is 1, and you want to stop at 9. If you do that, you can see it's autofilling these numbers horizontally and stopping at 9. Yeah, I like the all of it. I like the all of that number, then you did control minus. I like the all of it, then control minus. We want to do this now vertically, you type 1 there, right? Then come to this one here, series, step value 1, you want to stop at 9, and of course you want to do it column wise. And that is it. If you want to delete this, I've said, you hold on Control and Shift together. Then you click on the page down arrow. It will highlight the entire data, right? Once that is done, you click on Delete or Control minus to be able to delete the entire data. Thank you. Good. Now, what I want us to explain, what I want us to learn here is what we call cell referencing. There's nothing you're going to do in Excel if you don't understand cell referencing. We are going to use the $sign. We are going to use absolute cell referencing. We are going to refer to a fully locked range. If you are not able to understand what cell referencing is all about, then I am sorry you'll not be able to learn smoothly this Excel concept, right? So that's why we are starting from the most basic part of Excel, the cell referencing. Now, I want us to come up with this simple thing, the multiplication table here of 1 all the way to 9. So at this particular point, we expect when you take 9 multiplied by 4, we expect the answer to be 36 at this particular point. When I come to this part, I expect 5 multiplied by 7 to give us 35. But we need to automate that in Excel. We need to set everything at this particular cell. And once we set that, we just need to autofill and everything will be perfect. Let's see. Our first step, we expect when I take 1 multiplied by this one here, it will give me 1, which is perfect. When I move the next part horizontally, I expect 1 times 2 to give us 2, which is okay. When I come to this part, I expect 3 times 1 to be 3, not 6. There's a problem here, right? What if I just try to extend it all the way to 9? There's a very big problem because when I take 6 multiplied by 1, 6 multiplied by 1, I expect it to be 6, not 720. When I take 7 multiplied by 1, I expect it to be 7, not 5,040. How do we solve this problem? What is the issue? First of all, let's see. At this particular point, it is taking 1 multiplied by 1, which is perfect. At this particular point, it is taking 2, multiplying by this one, yet it should be multiplying by the figures in column O. There's a problem there, right? It is not sticking to column O, it is moving as we autofill, right? When I come to this part, I expect it to take 5 multiplied by 1. Is it multiplying it by 1? Look at it. It is taking 5, which is okay, and it is multiplying by 24, not 1. So we want to solve that problem. How do we solve the problem? By doing what we call cell referencing. We have so many ways of doing the cell referencing. We have absolute cell referencing. Then, of course, we also have the $sign. We have the $sign, which is normally used to unlock the cell. We can also create from selection, right? We can define the name. So we can define range. We can define range. So that's another way of renaming our cell. We can define the range. We can create from selection. We can get from selection. If you want to use all these, be able to do the cell referencing, because if you don't understand the cell referencing, then you are not going to manage this assignment here. So let's see. Let's go with that. Equal to 1 multiplied by this 1. We want to look at a common point of reference. Our common point of reference is, if I were to autofill this number now, right? Let's say this one here, 1 times 1, that's okay. When I come to this part, it is now P3 multiplied by O3. When I move to this part, it will be P3 multiplied by O6. You can see what is happening. So as we autofill this number vertically or horizontally, something must be a common point of reference. For example, as we autofill all these in this first row, everything should be referring to 1. So I will take 1 times 1, 2 will be times 1, 3 times 1, 4 times 1. You can see this one is constant item of reference. When I now move again down here and try to do it horizontally, I'll be taking 3 multiplied by 1. I'll be taking 2 by 3. I'll be taking 3 multiplied by 3. So this column is a column of reference. It is a common column of reference. Now, that common column of reference, kindly pick it from the group. It was shared in the group. Kindly pick it from the group, please. That common column of reference should be locked, and you're going to lock it using the $sign. We are going to lock it using the $sign. So what are we supposed to do? Let us come here and say equal to, we take 1, because everything in column 1 will be our common point of reference, right? You can see when I come to 5 multiplied by 8, it is still column O that I'm referring to. Yes, the row will change to row number 11, but the column is still O. So I need to lock that O. To lock column O, I need to put a $sign before letter O. I need to put a $sign before letter O. I need to put a $sign before letter O. Good. So can we put that? Good. The meeting link and the document has been shared in that group. Kindly pick it from that group, please. Pick it from that group. It has just been shared, so pick it from that group. Pick it from that group. Pick it from that group. Great. Now, we have said we want to introduce $sign. We have 2 ways of introducing the $sign, right? We can use F4 or just say shift, then you dial 4 to get the $sign. So on top of 4, there's the $sign. On top of 4, there's the $sign. On top of 4. On top of 4, there's the $sign. Okay, let's have like 2 minutes to sort Francis or Frank. Good. So we need to introduce the $sign here. We need to introduce the $sign. We hold on shift, then you dial 4 to be able to bring the $sign. When you bring the $sign before O, then automatically it will be a common point of reference. And I want us just to see something. Even if I try to move vertically, you can see what is happening. Horizontally, look at what is happening. So definitely this point of reference is fully locked. It is a common point of reference. And now we'll solve our problem. Why? Because when I come to this part, I'll be saying it is 3 times 1. It is 3 times 6. You can see 6 already returned to us. So the next thing you're supposed to deal with is how to now lock our common point of reference on the vertical side or under the row. Which one is the common point of reference in terms of the row? Let us come back and restart. When I come to the row, remember, I'll be taking 2 times 4. I'll be taking 2 times 7. I'll be taking 3 times 9. You can see all of them are sharing which row? Row number 3. All of them are sharing row number 3. So it means this row number 3 as a reference point will be also locked. It is a common point of reference and we need to lock it. Let us try that. So when I come here and say equal to this, and you can see we have P3, Q3, R3, S3, E3. So these 3 being a common point of reference, we need to put a dollar sign before that number 3. Meaning we have locked row number 3. So when you enter and try to autofill this vertically, you can see what is happening. When you try to autofill this horizontally, you can see what is happening. It is actually referring to this digit in row number 3, which is very good for us because we want to take 7 multiplied by 5. We want to take 7 multiplied by 6. So the moment we lock 3, we have locked the common point of reference. When I combine these two things, then it means we'll be able to come up with the automated multiplication table. That is to say, is equal to, I'll take this. We said column O is our common point of reference. So we need to put the dollar sign before O. Then a multiplication table, we multiply by this one here. All of them are arranged in row number 3. So we need to lock that 3. Put your cursor between P and 3, then introduce a dollar sign. Once you do that, you've been able to solve the problem. It links the two. And I autofill now this horizontally and do it vertically. I have a complete and perfect multiplication table. Just enable editing. User, when you open that document, you have been able to protect the documents in your Excel. So simply enable editing, that right of deleting. Enable editing at the top right corner of the document, and then you'll be able to, somewhere there, when you open the document, somewhere here, it is indicating the option of enable editing. Once you enable that, it will be okay. Good. So you can see our problem has been sorted by actually locking the common point of reference. When I come to this, look at it. I need 6 multiplied by 8. At this particular point, it is referring to column O. It is referring to row number 3. You can see that O and 3 are still locked. When I come to this part, I expect O and 3 to be locked. You can see they are still locked. When I come to this part, you can see the row O, row number 3, column O is still locked. And now, the funny part of it is that how is it detecting that at this particular point, it is now T3 multiplied by O 7. It is detecting that because we did not lock. For the vertical arrangement, we did not lock the row. For example, at this starting point, it was O4. When I move down to the next row, it will be O5. You can see this 5 now, the row number is changing. So I should not lock this row number in this column O. But when I move to these other numbers here now, they should retain the row that is row number 3. The columns will keep on changing. That is why at this particular point, you will see it telling us it is R3. R3 will be appearing somewhere. When I move to this part, it will be T3, right? It will be appearing somewhere. When I move to this part, it will be X3. You can see this 3 which is locked is ever available in all the cells. That is now the power of cell referencing. Have you been able to come up with something? Have you been able to come up with something? Good. Now, just want someone who has not been able to bring anything. Why that when trying to write any figure in the worksheet, it becomes dormant. Yes, it's still edited. So definitely that is it. It is still edited. It is still edited. Then maybe the Excel version is a problem. Good. So I want someone who has not been able to come up with something, share his or a screen, then we do it together. So let me just give you that option. Perfect. Now, after doing that, remember, we have learned something. If I want to just lock this column only, I will lock the letter. If I want to lock this row only, I will lock the number. What if I want to lock everything? What if I want, mine doesn't have the dollar sign, then that's okay. You haven't said how to remove the dollar sign. Oh, let me bring it. Let me create the problem. Then we solve that problem. Let me create the problem. Good. This is the dollar sign. How do I remove it? Simply come to your two options. Just click on this part here. Give us a normal number. Then, of course, you can reduce the number of decimal places. Or alternatively, just come to this part and pick the number format. So you can see, for speaking the currency, I can pick this currency, yes, but to do away with the symbol. So under the symbol, just put none. Then again, it will eliminate the dollar sign. Those are the two options of actually eliminating the dollar sign. Good. Now, my interest was not about the multiplication table. It is adding no value to us. My interest was knowing how to lock the cell. That is partial referencing, because for this part, we've only locked the column, right? Then for this part, we've only locked the row. That is partial cell referencing. How about absolute? Absolute? Absolute is where you are locking everything. Absolute is where you are locking everything. I've said, let me just bring it back. You have the dollar sign, you go to this part. Under home, you go to this part of numbers, right? Under home, you go to this section of numbers. Let me just bring back that. Okay. So under home, you go to this section of number. We have options. Just highlight this, then take us to, it is showing accounting. That's why we have the dollar sign. So click on this, have the normal number. Have the normal number or currency. Of course, mine will change to Kenya shillings because that's the default one for my case. How do I remove this currency? The first option, come to this, click on number, it will eliminate it. Option number 2, come to this part, click on that, and under currency, do away with the symbol. Say none. If you do that, you'll be able to see you have eliminated the currency symbol. Okay. After equal sign, do I key 0 and 4 directly? Remember we said that you say equal to, it is this times this one here. The name of this cell is O3. For us to name a cell, we are using the column and the row number. For us to name a cell, we are using the column and the row number. For example, at this particular point, it is in column M and in row number 15. So you can see when I put my cursor here, the name of that cell is M15, column and row. M15. When I put my cursor here, it changes to N15. When I put my cursor here, it changes to M19. The column number, the column name and the row number. So, O4 is O the column and 4 the row. Every item in this common point of reference should be locked. We lock that O. When I come to this again, horizontally, everything is arranged in row number 3. So I lock 3. We say you just do it first of all horizontally, right? Horizontally, then in that position. So what I was telling you is this drag, this one here is used to drag. So I can take these numbers to this part, right? By using this kind of cursor, this one here, the sharp one, the sharp arrow will enable you to move this thing to wherever you want, will enable you to play with it to wherever you want, right? Then this one here is to highlight. Once it is in that position, I can highlight this. I can highlight this. I can highlight this. That is it. Work. Then there's this other one. Now I have to put it this way. That one is used to autofill the formula horizontally, right? Then like this, double left click. It automatically brings the result. That one answers your question. I said my interest was not about locking the cell. My interest was, the multiplication table. My interest was you understanding how to lock the cell. Can you autofill using Control E? Yeah, you can actually do that. So Control E is actually for the flash fill. If I want to autofill some formulas that's already provided, then you can actually use that. That one is for flash fill. Control E is for flash fill. Good. Now that is partial cell referencing. I want us to go to absolute or full cell referencing. And for you to understand what we call the full cell referencing, I want us to do it this way, right? I want us to do it this way. We can just pick some products. So let's say we are telling you to subscribe to Excel, right? Subscribe to Excel. We are telling you to subscribe to management accounting, subscribe to BDA, right? Subscribe to FM, subscribe to FR, subscribe to maybe PFT, right? PFT. Those are the units, right? Units. Then the charge per unit, the charge per unit here, right, is 4,800. Is 4,800. That is the charge per unit. So after getting the charge per unit, you want to know the number of students who have registered for these courses, right? So let's say student. For example, for Excel, we can take 175 who are in this meeting. So let's say those people have actually registered for Excel. So management MA here, we can talk about maybe 340. BD, we can talk about 450, right? FM, we can talk about 310, right? FR, we can talk about 520, right? PFT, we can talk about 230. That is what we have. So you are told to give us total revenue, right? Total revenue. Total revenue or revenue. Let us have revenue column. Revenue. Then again, remember, somebody's already worried. Why are you typing these things? Why can't you just use what you already have? As you do Excel, we're also training you on speed, especially someone who will be doing their BDA, someone who did their last advanced level units in the December sitting. This person is preparing for business data analytics. Imagine it's going to be your first time to actually sit for a CPA exam using your laptop. There is no paper, there is no calculator. Excel will be your calculator. So your typing speed must be top notch. You must be conversant with the typing using Excel, using your laptop. So that's why at some point I'll be giving you some data just to type based on your speed. Good. So are we done with this? Are we done with this? Of course, again, we have a ninja who is looking at them one by one. There's a ninja who is still typing this FR. There's a ninja who is still looking for BDA, the 3 letters. So that is common. Don't be worried. Don't be scared. That's common. Yeah. Good. So are we done? If you're done, just say yes, yes, or done. Just type down there for us to know that you are done. Done, done, done. Yes, done. Yes. Great. About the absolute cell referencing, this is the issue. You can see we have a common charge per unit, and you are told to give us revenue. So let us get the revenue. How do we get the revenue? It is the number of subscribers multiplied by the charge per unit. Let's come here. Our revenue will be equal to student, number of students multiplied by charge per unit. When you take that, it will give you total revenue for that particular product. Then, of course, we autofill. Good. Confirm to me that you've been able to do that. Confirm to me. And of course, I want to read these numbers perfectly. What do I need to do? Simply highlight this, bring the comma style, and reduce the number of decimal places. So we have, at least we can see the separation of thousands and that's there. Good. So confirm that you've been able to do that. Confirm. Screen not showing. Somebody saying that my screen is not visible. Is that true? Somebody is saying that my screen is not visible. Is that true? My screen is okay. Thank you. Good. Now, we have nothing to do with the Excel, the May, number of students. We have everything to do with absolute cell referencing. So this is how absolute cell referencing operates. If I have a common cost unit, why should I waste time creating the entire column for the charge per unit? If I have a common charge per unit, why should I waste time creating a column for the charge per unit? Actually, I want us to change this to be price. That one is still okay. We can actually have that. So this charge per unit, we should not have it. We should not have it. Let us scrap it off. Let us scrap it off. Instead of wasting time with that, do away with these figures. Right? I just want to maintain this. Then we compare notes. So that is revenue using that other column, which of course we have been able to eliminate. Another way, now that this charge per unit is common, just have it here. Have it there. Our charge per unit is 4,800, and that's all. How do I get revenue? You have told me very well that revenue is equal to the units multiplied by charge per unit. I will come here and say equal to this one here multiplied by charge per unit. But with Excel, we should always understand how to autofill. So when I now enter, look at what will be happening. And try to autofill, it will keep on moving. At this particular point, it has been able to leave this 4,800 and has walked away, right? It has been able to disappear. So what do we need to do? It will force us again to come here and bring it back for us to get the correct figure. Now, the absolute cell referencing tells us that because the charge per unit is a constant item, the charge per unit is a constant item, we'll come here and say equal to this one here. So you can see you don't have any other charge per unit. It is that 4,800. So under this scenario, we do what we call full cell referencing. The full cell referencing means we are going to log both the column and the row. This cell is N31. N31, right? N31 has got two things. N, which is the column name, 31, which is the row name. So when you combine the two, we are referring to a cell. This is a constant point of reference. It should be fully locked. And if we all agreed that for you to lock a cell, you must use $sign. So you want to use $sign to lock N and use $sign to lock 1. In other words, we are going to have two dollar signs. The one locking N and the other one locking 31. So we have a shortcut of doing that. If I'm doing full cell referencing or fully locking the cell, I just need to do a simple thing. There's that F4, there's this F1 all the way to F12. So can you just dial F4? In that status, can you just dial F4 and tell me what you're able to see? Can you just dial F4? Is there anything that has happened? Can you dial F4? Is there anything that has happened? Can you dial F4, F4, F4? Dial what? F4. The first row of your keyboard, we have escape. There is F1, F2, F3, F4, all the way to 12. Tumesema vizuri, nataka uweke charge per unit. To write charge per unit 4800, alafu tukuje hapa tunasema equal to, you refer to this. Sasa tuko hapa. Dial for what are you able to see? Dollar sign, it locked the cell, Windows 2 F4. Tell me what you're able to see. If you are able to see nothing, please indicate nothing. If you have been able to see something, please tell us that something. So Washington is telling us, I've been able to see dollar sign being introduced before N and before 31. Alex is able to see nothing. At least I have two people are seeing nothing. Nothing. Tunakuja hapo sasa. So when you are able to see nothing, of course, even nothing is also seen. Mimi sielewi. Tunakuja hapo. So those who are able to see nothing, this is why you are able to see nothing. In your keyboard again, the last row next to control, there is FN function. FN function or key. There is FN button somewhere there. Are you able to see it? Between control and the window button, there is FN. Now, this time round, can you hold on FN, then you dial F4. So you hold on F4, FN, and then you dial F4. Are you able to see something now? Those who are seeing nothing, are you able to see something now that you've been able to dial FN and F4 at the same time? Are you able to see something? I was also seeing nothing. Let me try using FN, F4. So when I now dial FN, F4, at least I'm also able to see something. Right? I'm also able to see something. Good. Then it is taking the charge per unit. By doing that, we have fully locked the charge per unit. Anytime you're going to autofill this result, it has to refer to the 4800. Good. Then you multiply by, remember you told me that revenue is the units multiplied by selling price per unit or service fee per unit. And we have the quantity here. Now, our quantity, of course, I'll be able to tell you how to lock, but for now, I don't want to bring so many things. Our quantity here is in column N. You take the price per unit, multiply by the quantity, then you enter, right? Can you now try autofilling? What are you able to see? Can you now try autofilling? F4 is in the first row. User, the first row has got that F4. You dial them together. What are you able to see once you autofill? Is it giving you the same revenues that you're having? Let me try and do it as you see. When I now try to autofill this, you can see I am getting revenue. And look at now the interesting part of it. When I try to edit this, yes, it has moved. It has detected something. It has moved to 340, but this one is still constant. And if I were to autofill this again, still moving horizontally, you can see. Then if I were to do it horizontally to this part, it is still referring to this one here. Well, the reason is we fully locked the charge per unit. We fully locked the charge per by unit. So that is what we call absolute cell referencing, right? We have fully locked that cell. But of course, by use of what we call dollar sign. How have you managed to keep the first revenue? So the first revenues, I not communicate something. So the first revenues, this is what you're supposed to do. And I want us to create another column here. Another row there. Column. So how do I retain this revenue? So first of all, you highlight, you copy, right? Copy. Then go to this paste drop-down list and click on paste values. Paste values. So when you click on values, you will have the answers retained, but there is no formula attached to it. Such that even if I delete this 4,800, my revenues are still maintained. Someone is lost. I've said you highlight step number 1, you click on copy, then still under that step, you click on paste drop down and click on values. Or click on values. Are we together up to that point? Are we together up to that point? Are we together up to that point? Cell referencing must just work for us. Remember, I told you that to understand how to use the dollar sign, we are now conversant with that. Absolute cell referencing, we have been able to do that. I want us to define range. Under defining range, it can work for the entire column or just a single cell. Then, of course, we want to also create name from selection. I want us to deal with that. I think I'm seeing some light. Wow, that's great. That's great. Good. Another step, another method. So let's have our revenue here. Let us have another revenue column. We want to try all these methods. So our next step, we want to give this cell a name, define the range, right? So I want you to put your cursor on this 4,800. Actually, even before you put it there, can you please highlight these two? There's someone who is not going to do this. Please do it. Highlight both the name and the value. Highlight both the name and the value. Remember, we said this is the highlighting option. This one here is autofilling. This one here is for dragging. I don't want us to drag. I want us to highlight. So highlight the name and the amount. After highlighting the name and the amount, I want you to go to formulas. I want you to go to formulas. Under formulas, there's this part written, create from selection. Create from selection. Click on that. This will be displayed to you. Then I'll tell you what to do with it. So once you have been able to get to this point, just indicate yes, 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 down there. Step is you highlight this, you go to formulas, then click create from selection. And this will be displayed. So are we all at this particular point? Just indicate yes down there. How do we paste? Mesema, you highlight this. You can actually say Control-C to copy, right? Then how do we paste values only? I want to give you a shortcut. Alt-H-V-V. Right? We have a shortcut of actually copying and pasting values only. Alt-H-V-V. Yeah, that can also work. How do we copy? Control+C. Control+C is to copy. So come and put it here. Right? Control-C, you've copied. How do we paste values only? Just dial Alt, H, V, then another V. You'll be able to do the same thing. Copying like this, if highlighting, then you come to copy, then paste values only is giving you a problem. This is the shortcut. Control-C, you have copied. Alt, V, you have copied and pasted values only. Let us now get back to what we are talking about. I've said you come and highlight both the name and the figure. You go to formulas, create from selection, then this has been displayed. Our data have been arranged in this pattern. We have the name in the first column, we have the amount in the other column. This is what you want to do. Create names from values in the left column. The item in the left column of what we have highlighted will be the name of this figure. So make sure that this box here is ticked. The left column box is ticked. Make sure that the left column box is actually, after doing that, or even before doing that, so of course somebody has been able to do that, so don't worry, there's no problem. Look at what I'm having here. When you now confirm, things have to change, right? Something will be changing. We said that if I want to refer to this cell, I'll be saying it is in M27, and that you can confirm here, M27. If I want to refer to this column here, it is M24, and you can see M24 here. Is that the same with what you are having here now? When I put it here, I expect it to refer to it as N31. Is it still referred to as N31? What is the name of that figure, the 4800? You can clearly see it has changed. It is now not N31. It's having a new name, charge per unit. It's having a new name, charge per unit. Right? So if I want to get this 4800, let's say I've been told, can you give us the cost of or total revenue for 20 students who will be taking FR, right? So can you give us total revenue for 20 students who will be taking FR? I have 20 students times charge per unit. Just type charge. Just type charge per unit, and you can see it is there. The moment I start typing charge, it has automatically referred to the 4800. Right? If I have 20 students who are taking FR, I'll be expecting 96,000. Right? If I have 178 students who are taking FR, I take 178 students, then I multiply by charge. Just start typing charge. Charge. And you can see charge per unit. When you click on tab button, it refers to that 4800. And you can see, just try editing it. It's referring to the 4800. Wow, that's great. But I want to get the charge per unit. So just say is equal to charge, charge per unit. And when you enter, you get to the 4800. That is now the absolute cell referencing using what we call creating name from selection. So it means if I want to get my revenue, we all know that revenue is equal to the students multiplied by charge per unit. So just start typing charge. I can see charge per unit. And then you enter. If I now try autofilling it, you can see what is happening. This point, it is taking this, multiplying by this, but we are fully locked. That's now another name of absolute reference using what we call creating name from selection. This 4800, we have created a name for it. And that name is this one here, charge per unit. That is why when you refer to the 4800, it's giving you the name charge per unit. We together to that point. Are we together up to that point? Somebody's requesting for a break. Wow. Are we together up to that point? Are we together up to that point? Somebody's saying no. I want to use, so let's say this item, the amount is 4800, and you want to call this item Robert. Sorry if Robert is in this meeting, but let's try. I want to refer to this item as Robert. This 4800 is Robert. So I write Robert as the name and 4800. Then go to that, formulas. create from selection, let the left column be used as the name. Then you confirm. So let's say our charge per unit is called Robert. I want now come here and say is equal to the student multiplied by Robert, right? Multiply by Robert. When I type Robert, it is referring to this 4,800. It is referring to 4,800. And you can see it is giving us the same figure. It is giving us the same figure. Are we together up to that point? Are we together for those who are lost? For those who are lost, are we together? Thank you. Now, another method of actually looking at it. Look at this interesting part of it. Remember, you will be doing financial models, right? You will be doing financial. And so you'll be taken to some worksheet here. Let me just create some worksheet here. You've been given this worksheet, right? We have a new worksheet where we have the result, but everybody is extremely busy. We cannot recall the charge per unit. So you have been taken to the last row of a new worksheet. I want a unit. Type Robert. Just type Robert and you can see what is happening. Right? Just type Robert and you can see what is happening here. It is 4,800 is equal to charge per unit. Can see. Look at what I'm getting. I'm getting 4,800. I'm referring to something that was set in this worksheet here. It was set here, and you can see I'm using it here. That is a secret. That is a model that is normally used in financial modeling. So I have depreciation worksheet, I have assets worksheet, I have loan worksheet. All these, at any given time, I'm told, can you give us the interest rate in 2024? I just type interest rate. It gives me the interest rate in 2024 after resetting that formula. Can you give us the cost per product in the last financial year? You're able to just type the last financial year cost per unit, and then automatically it gives you that, right? That is another way. Formula. Which formula are you referring to? There's someone by the name Pele. So we want to now name our product here 4,500. You want to refer to it as Pele. So I like Pele and 4,500. Go to formula, create from selection, then left column. Confirm. This time round, if I want to get 45, I just say equal to Pele, and then it gives me 4,500. Right? Is equal to Pele, and it gives me 4,500. Does that answer your question? It seems, Stephen, your Excel has got a lot of issues. So you need to get the latest version. You need to get the latest Excel version. Yeah, I can see your problems are so many in terms of that Excel thing. So I think the version is what is letting you down. Your Excel version is actually letting you down. But now, I want to use another method. Because this name is already used, what if we decide and put price or just the word selling price? Selling price. Selling price. Or service fee. Let us even use the word service fee. Service fee. So this service fee is still 4,800. It's still 4,800. I want us to use it now to get our revenue. So the service fee this time round, just go to formulas, right? Go to formulas. Don't use create from selection. No. I want you to this time around use what we call define name. Define name. So this refers to the cell of N34. Remember the original name is N34. N34 will have a special name. That name is service fee. We can even also talk about, replace it and talk about tuition. Tuition fee. We can even refer to it as tuition fee. Tuition fee. Then you confirm. In doing so, I want to get the total revenue. Total revenue is equal to 175 students multiplied by tuition, multiplied by tuition fee. And you can see it is picking our tuition fee of 800. And then you go to fill. We do the cell referencing, right? That's how we do the cell. Mine is giving me. Yes, it is giving you name error because of some interesting item here. When you go to define a name, you can see there is no space. You cannot use a space. You use the inverted slash or you use this dash. Yeah, you cannot have a space. Service fee, then you put some space there. No, it will not work. Right? You can see it is giving us these issues here. Yeah, definitely that cannot work. You must have that dash or inverted slash. That's the only option. That's the only option. How do we write underscore? So underscore, you can see it is on top of minus. So how do I deal with it? Shift, then minus to give you the underscore. This is what I have. Could it be issues with my exam? It seems your Excel is not this new version. Yeah, so you can get 2021 and above. But what? Just go to more functions. Under more functions, are you able to see something there? Under more functions, maybe, or defined names. Your issue is about the Excel version. Your issue is about the Excel version. Good. I want one person, 1 minute, who is not getting the correct thing. Share his or her screen, then I move to something. Why are we locking using the $sign? This is the reason. I want you to see this is the correct thing. We expect 81,000, we expect 9, we expect 9, we expect 18. But look at what will be happening if we don't lock. If I don't use the $sign, this is what will be happening. Is equal to this multiplied by this. Right? That's why you're using the $sign. Because if I don't use the $sign, this problem will appear. I expect it to take 9 times 9 to give me the 1. It is not doing that. So because of that problem, we are supposed to use the $sign to have the correct thing. Then, at this part here, this part, we were using the $sign, right? So let me just refer to this part. We are using the $sign because it is a common point of reference. So it's equal to this one here, which must be fully locked. That is the price per unit. It is constant. Then I multiply by the quantity. Right? It gives me that. Even if I extend it, you can see it is still referring to this 4,800. It is still referring to this 4,800. That is why we're using the $sign. Hope that answers your question. Now, were you taught something to do with some ifs? Were you taught something to do with some ifs? Some ifs. Now, we want to get the summation, but this summation must have a condition. I want to get the number of students who sat for BDA and scored 60% and above. Okay. I want to get the number of students who sat for BDA, that is condition number 1. So the unit right? So that is condition number one, unit. Because if I to get the number of students who sat for BDA, there will be so many. There'll be around maybe 2,000 or 2,500 in the whole country, right? For the December sitting. That's okay, that's sorted. So we already have the number of students who sat for BDA, but not just sitting for BDA. We want to get the number of those people who scored 60% and above, right? That is where now the grade comes in. That's where the grade now is in. Okay. I will not stop at that point. Yes, you are going to give the number of students who sat for BDA. They have scored 60% and above. And besides that, I want to get those students who sat for these exams. And of course, they were in Nairobi County exam centers. Right? They were in Nairobi County. So, exam center. We want to see, does the center determine the performance of students? Yes, we have the results for all the BDA students for the December sitting. We have their grades, right? We also know their centers, but you want to see this performance, is it dependent on the exam center or not? Because you're also able to realize for those who sat for BDA, CPA exams, I hope there are those people who are not doing exams. So still, this will be relevant. You're able to see of late, when you are booking your exams, you're also being requested to give us learning institution. Line, right? Learning mode. Are you doing personal studies or you are studying from an institution? And you being studying from an institution, we want to see. Right? So let's say your institution is RCM online. Is it true that the institution where these students study for their CP exams also determines the performance of the students? We are not just having the 2,500 BDA students. We are not just having the grades for the students who sat in for the December exams. No, we want to use this data and make meaningful conclusion results. We want to look at the performance, right? We want to look at is performance based on the exam center, or is this performance based on the learning institution? For the students who are studying on their own, compared to those who are studying from specific learning institutions, is there some difference in terms of performance? We are now analyzing the results that you can make meaningful conclusion. Maybe if you find that those who are learning on their own, they find a lot of difficulties maybe in passing these BD exams because they're not exposed to Excel functions, they're not exposed to Excel concepts, then what will we say? We'll be saying that every single student, now that Kasneb is talking, every single student will be doing their BD exams must be attached to an institution. They must have studied at a given institution. If you don't study at an institution, then it means we are not going to allow you to book the exams. Something of that kind, because they have been able to analyze the trend that, you know what, those who are studying on their own normally fail the exams and they're not able to blend effectively with the Excel functions and formulas. You see, we are analyzing data and making now meaningful outcome or conclusion from that particular data set. Now, all this put together, we have 20. This is what will be happening. All the students who sat for BDA, let's say 2,500 in the December sitting, those who have scored 60% are only 500 in the December sitting. That is 60% and above. So we can talk about greater than or equal to. Of course, this is not factual. We are just learning. The papers have not been marked. So sorry for using that information because, again, we're also training those who sat for the December exams. So this is something that we're just using for learning purposes. It has got nothing to do with the December sitting. We don't want to interfere with the wounds that are yet to heal. Good. Then exam center again. Is it Nairobi County? Again, if you look at it, maybe from the 2,500, only 500 passed, got 60 50% and above. Those who did the exams, Nairobi County, as the exam centers, are only 150. Right? Then maybe those who indicated that they were coming from a given institution, right, are only 100. I'll be able to see. So as you increase the conditions, as you keep on bringing the conditions, the total number is reducing. So without any condition, 2,500. 60% and above, only 500. Those who did exams in Nairobi County, only 150. Those who studied at RCM, only 100. Because we know in real terms, those who did the studied BD at RCM, about 500 students in the last semester or just concluded semester, right? But planning purposes, we are trying to look at this trend. As you keep bringing in the conditions, the number is reducing. That is what we are talking about. Because if you do that manually, you'll take the whole day doing that, right? That is what I want us to deal with here in a smart way. Oh, somebody's advising me to use 𝗖𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗘. Then that's okay. I'll be able to use that. Or April. Okay. Now, this is what we have. We have the products, we have the sales rep, yeah, we have the region, then we have all that. So because we have not done the VLOOKUP or the referencing, reconciling functions, I will not take you to VLOOKUP. I don't want to combine those for now, those concepts, because the VLOOKUP has got its own session. Now, I want us to use ways of actually getting the specific items, right? Because you can see, if I look at the product column, I can see, right, we have a product appearing more than once. We have quad here, then it's also appearing somewhere here. We have Sunbell, we have Belen here, right? You can see a product is appearing more than once. In other words, if I were to highlight this column, go to home and say, can you please highlight the cells with duplicate values? This is what will be happening. You can see we have a lot of duplicates. You can see we have a lot of duplicates. Now, with that, we cannot know the exact number of products that are here. The exact unique number of products that we're actually having. So we have two methods of doing that. Method number one, we are going to use remove duplicates. Number two, we are going to use a function. So remove duplicates is a procedure, right? But we have now a function in Excel. And for information, every single item you're going to do in Excel, can you try as much as possible to know more than one method of doing that? Because Excel provides a variety of procedures for dealing with one particular item. I want us to solve that problem. So let's say we have this, so we copy product, and we bring it somewhere here. I've copied the product, pasted it here. I want to know the unique products that are here. You know, there's a ninja who will be coming and telling you, okay, this is the first product, this one here, okay, this one here, okay. Then we have, this one is repeated, so we remove it. Belen for the first time, right? Somebody will be doing that, and you can imagine the number of hours you're going to take to actually help us identify the unique product. We have method number one. Let me just copy it. Method number one will be telling me the way I have been able to highlight this column. I will go to data. And under data, there's this button of remove duplicates. So when you click on remove duplicates, it will be requesting me, is it true that my first row is the title of my data? Of course, it is not the title, right? So we confirm, when you can put it, then you can see it has skipped. So the title is normally skipped, right? The title is normally, so let me just bring it back. Let's say we are having this. Let's say you are having this. Let's say you are having that. Let me just show you what will happen. The first row is not a unique product, but it is the title. When you now come to this part, I highlight it that way. You go to data, remove duplicates here. When I now say that the first row the title of my data. When you click on this, you can see it's automatically keeping the first row, right? And you confirm, right? You can see we have 9,988 duplicate values. All of them have been removed, and we only have 12 unique values that are remaining. Right? So it has saved us that time. We are now having only this unique item. There are only 12 in number. That is method number one. Repeat, please. I've said to highlight. You go to data, then click on this remove duplicates. My data has got the first row is the title, then you confirm. 9,989 duplicate values have been found and removed. We are remaining with only 13 unique items. Why? Because I don't say the first row is the title. Then automatically, these are the unique items. So that is method number one, right? It's actually possible for every single Excel version. But I know there's someone who is not having now the function. There's a function that will be able to do the same. I'll come here and say equal to unique, right? There's a function called unique in Excel. So when you click on unique, it is requesting you to provide the array. This is the array, right? How do I want to get the distinction? My data will be distinct or be distinguished by the row. So do you want to return unique columns or unique rows? I want you to return to me the unique rows, right? So these items are arranged. You can see row number one, row number two, all the way to the last part. So the unique row is here, response to the word false. We have two options. Anytime you see the word false, type 0. If you want to use that false, type 0. If you want to use true, type 1. So in this case, I want to get the unique items from the row. I'll be typing 0, comma, right? That's the first thing. Then the next thing I'm now given here is, do you want to return items that appear exactly once or return every distinct item? Every unique item should be returned. Every unique item should be returned. So again, you can see the word false and true. What have I said? I can type the word false or just type 0. Right? Then you close your bracket. When you enter, you can see what is happening. When you enter, you can see what is happening. Is it true that you are getting the same pattern? Is it true that you are getting the same pattern? Is it true that you are getting the same pattern? You have the product. That's the product. Okay. Then the unique products now are these ones here. And you can see. So this one here, I've used a procedure. The second one, I've been able to use a function. What is the name of that function? Unique. The name of the function is unique. We together up to that point. Yes, it means you don't have the latest Excel version. That's why I've said in Excel you always have more than one method of doing the same thing. So if this method, this unique function is not available in your Excel, which means you don't have the latest version, it is very simple. We use our first procedure, which of course we said our first procedure, you copy and paste it here. You go to data, right? Remove duplicates. My data has got a title. This one here, and it does the same, right? Or is equal to unique. I'm now repeating unique. Array, this is the entire array, comma, by return unique row 0, comma, then of course return every distinct item, another 0, then you close the bracket. When you enter, it returns to you the unique items using unique function. using unique function. Are you now sorted? Are you now sorted? I've repeated the two of them. Are you now sorted? We'll need these functions as we progress. Are we together now? Are we together now? Great. Remember, repeat the first one. I've repeated that. I've said the first one unakuja hapa. This is the entire data. And is it possible to share your screen? Because I can see maybe there's something that as an assignment, exact number of sales rep ni ngapi? Exact number of sales rep. Sales representatives. How many sales representatives do we have in this particular data? How many sales representatives do we have? Great. In 12, okay, wacha tuone. So actually, I can even use unique is equal to, yeah, that's possible. I can get it here, is equal to unique, because either way, that will be giving me the same thing, is equal to unique. Unique, So this is what I have, sales rep, 0, 0. Then I close the bracket. So the sales rep, another thing that you need to understand, remember, there are so many. Somebody was telling me 13. Aya. Na hivyo ndio nimendanganya tu hapo. I'm getting more than 13. The unique sales rep, 13, kweli. Unless we're looking at two separate things. Wacha tuone, wacha tujue ukweli. So, I want to do this formula. I write it this way, right? To determine what you're supposed to do, you copy. Then how do we paste without any formula? Alt, H, V. The V, I've been able to eliminate that, or it is still within that part. So I can actually copy and paste it somewhere here. Oh, of course, the first one is the title. I cannot say that is not another unique item. No. When you highlight this text, you can see it is counting how many? 72. Is there someone who gave us 72? Number of sales reps, 72. 74, that's wrong. 72, that's perfect. How can I get this workbook? We are almost ending the class. Na mtu ana document. So bad, so bad, so bad. What do we do? It was shared in the group. It was shared in this meeting. It was shared in this meeting. Let me see. Can someone reshare it here? Yeah, so those who did 72, your answers are actually correct. We have unique, we have 72 sales representatives. We have 72 sales representatives. That's perfect. A question here. Okay, good. 72, not 73. When it says 73, it means you've included the title. Yeah. Good. So just, I was trying to do that because we are also going to meet another thing. And that other item is to create data validation. These things we have to understand. We have to understand them. So we want to deal with region. Definitely region was not given. So as we get to do the VLOOKUP, the XLOOKUP, we'll be able to learn how to, the index and match, we'll be able to learn how to bring back this region. Remember, region was not given. It is only this one here, sales rep and region. And then we need to fill this column. This column is, in other words, this column is, so we need to bring a function. We'll have a whole day doing this, a whole session of doing this. So don't be worried. I'll be able to address that. That should not scare you at all. We'll be able to address that. Now, my issue is I want us to know the unique regions. Of course, just come here and say the specific regions. I think there are only 4. If I'm not wrong, we can pick it from here. How many regions do we have? There are only 4, which is okay. But now, I want us to get a condition. The condition is, can you give us total sales by sales representatives from this region? That's now the condition, because that's what you were taught yesterday, right? A reminder, I want you to give me total sales, right? Total sales by this sales representative from a given region. We have region. We have a problem. We have region. Region has to be fulfilled. Region has to be fulfilled. Then we have sales rep, right? Sales rep. Then we have now total sales. So now the problem comes in. That is now the real problem. That is now the real problem. That is now the real problem. So our problem here is we want to get those sales reps. Right? We want to get those sales reps. So let me just say is equal to unique. Let me just pick my sales rep here. Of course, you still have your values. Then, of course, 0, 0. You can just see how Excel is really interesting. There's no struggling. In Excel, we are not struggling at all. In Excel, we are not struggling at all. Everything is flowing. Good. So, we have this sales rep, and this is where the problem is. We want to get total sales by each sales rep from a specific region. But from a specific region. From a specific region. Or even total sales for each region. Let us start with this. Total sales for a specific region. And I can see our time is also up. Kindly repeat using the unique function. Please pause the video after the class. That's of course obvious. Can you type unique? 𝗖𝗙𝗙𝗘 is equal to unique. Remember, if you don't have the latest Excel version, this unique function is not there in your Excel. That's why I gave you the 2 methods. Right? It is not there in your Excel 𝗖𝗙𝗙𝗘. So we'll be able to look at it. When we meet tomorrow, I want us to look at now the sum ifs. If possible, I'll be able to look at this. Sum ifs. This sum if will help us to do something. Data validation, right? Data validation. Then, of course, we'll be able to look at referencing. So you can now introduce what we call XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP, right? XLOOKUP, that is the latest version. So if your Excel again does not have XLOOKUP, another disaster in waiting, right? If you don't have XLOOKUP, which of course has been able to replace VLOOKUP, it has replaced VLOOKUP, which of course in my case, I'd be combining it with match. I normally like combining VLOOKUP with match to automate your workings. Then, of course, this animal index and match. When you combine these two people, they should not share same space. Index and match can make you see places. Index and match will make you see places. Then, of course, we have HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP, right? Good. So when we combine VLOOKUP and match, we can do referencing, right? These functions that I've listed here will enable you to do number 1, bank reconciliation, right? Will enable you to do automation, right? Automation will enable you do grading, right? You are wondering, how can an institution of 4,000 students give us results within 1 week? They normally use this function. You can give us the best student, the top 10, the top 20. You can give us totals grade for these students by actually using what we call this XLOOKUP, this one here. If you want to know, you want to do what we call the three-order matching, right? Three-order matching. You want to compare the invoice, the purchase order, the invoice, the delivery note, right? That one, you come for these great functions, right? To be able to address this, right? You want to come up with loan amortization schedule. You want to come up with investment schedule. Then if function comes in, and as a function comes in, or as a function comes in, right? Then another thing, we want to come up with a payroll, automated payroll. Then the if function comes in. Automated payroll, the if function comes in. We want to analyze data. We want to clean data. Now Power Query comes in. Power Query comes in, right? Power Query comes in, the automated one. If you want to automate your bank reconciliation, so at the end of every month, you just extract Excel from the bank, paste, refresh to give us the reconciled bank statement. That is now Power Query. That is now our query. You want to give us dashboards, right? Some people do not understand the figures. Like the data we are having here, it is so huge, 9,000 rows. That's too much. Now Pivot will help us to summarize the data. As you do the training, make sure that you come out of this training with something. Either this, at least you understand how to do the sum ifs with the conditions, learn how to do reconciliation or referencing now by learning this concept here. This is now what we call automated. Forget about everything, but automated payroll. I know this one here is a big problem. RA changes their payroll. Like, for example, they say, if they were to say today that the salary for the month of December will have some changes in terms of the pay scale, people will be struggling here. Who is having that template? Who is having that calculator for the updated payroll? You can actually make your own updated payroll. As long as you know how to use each function and of course, or. So these are three separate functions. If on its own, right? And on its own, and of course, or. So these three will enable you to come up with automated payroll. The Power Query and this one here will enable you to come now up with what we call dashboards. So under this automated payroll, we talk about loan, stock investment, schedule. This if function, don't just dismiss it here. It will enable you to come up with what we call financial statements. For your information, this is good we have not tackled it. Tomorrow, I'll be bringing in two sets of financial statements. The one where everything is combined in one column, then another one where we have, somebody's already worried. How can I be able to automate financial statements when I have debit and credit column until I get the three financial statements? Disaster. As long as you understand some ifs, we are supposed to be able to do that. Then I'll give you an information whereby you are only given some scattered data, you need to do some cleaning, you need to distinguish them for you to be able to come up with what we call the financial statement items. That again, you should be able to do using ifs function. I hope these areas that I've actually mentioned, in one way or the other, you must have been struggling with them currently. So by the end of this training, your problem should be sorted. Even if not all your problems, but at least one or two of them should be sorted by what I've mentioned here. And somebody's waiting for Wingu calculator to be able to get their automated payroll. Yeah. So you'll be able to learn a lot of things, not just for exams, but even at your work. Place the pivot table. Good. So I think that is it for now. At least we have introduced and you've seen what we have ahead of us, how to get the latest Excel version. So we have a guy who is normally installing it at a cost of 500, but because you are many, you can get that discount. You can be charged 300 and you get the latest version, at least 2021, so that you don't miss out. You don't miss out on this. So be able to communicate in the group on how to, or bring that guy on board. So what you need to do, just download what we call AnyDesk. Make sure you have AnyDesk installed, so that when I bring that guy on board, be able to assist you to install the latest version. That when we now meet tomorrow, if time allow us, we'll be able to introduce XLOOKUP. Remember, there's someone in this meeting who does not have XLOOKUP as a function. Yes, there's a ninja here who does not have XLOOKUP. The only thing they are able to see is VLOOKUP, which is outdated. VLOOKUP imepitwa na wakati. We are now looking at XLOOKUP. It summarizes everything. It solves the limitations of VLOOKUP. So if you don't have that function, download this, and then I'll be able to bring that guy on board to assist all of us. AnyDesk or TeamViewer, AnyDesk. 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 Good. So that is it for today. At least you've seen what is there. So I'll be able to again bring another file, another document with the assignment that you're going to deal with tomorrow as we progress. Thanks for your time. Or somebody has been requesting for some important information here. Mwenye kusikia jina sasa alichelewa. Huyo alichelewa. Mwenye kusikia jina, huyo alifanya nini? Alichelewa. Good. So that is my name. Perfect. So let's meet tomorrow. If the timetable provides that, then we'll be able to meet tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then the other day. Thanks for your time. Have a blessed night, and let's meet some other time.